All right, welcome into Bettor's Last Stand. Matt and Chris here on a hot Wednesday afternoon here in Wheeling. The guys are out of town on assignment. The Delbrook guys in Soup down in Elkins making some business ventures happen, possibly. So we'll keep you posted on that. Welcome into the show. Hope everybody's been enjoying our stuff on the radio the last few days, weeks, whatever. Remember, Monday, 2 to 3. And Tuesday and Thursday, noon to 3 on WKKX, The Watchdog. You can go on the watchdognetwork.com and listen to the stream anytime. Chris, welcome back.
Thank you, Matt. I was out last week. Work got the best of me.
Work's got the best of me today, as I'm just getting here now.
So, that's our number one priority. But you mentioned the heat. I swear we got baseball on right now, and I feel like we should be sitting out in the stands like it's late July or something.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like April. It's quite ridiculous.
No, it's too hot.
Yep, too hot, too soon. I know Jubb will concur with that. We did the podcast last night, and we were bitching about that. So, welcome into Bettor's Last Stand. As we said, BLS picks last week. We were up about 10.3 units. Coach and Sam carrying the weight because it wasn't up to me and you, Chris. It wouldn't have been a good week. You were down a few units. I was down 3.1 units. Coach had a really good turnout in golf. He was up 9.6 units, and he actually didn't even have the winner. So, a lot of top 10s, a lot of top 20s that came through. He's 3-0 in matchups. So, well done there. And then Sam up again 4.5 units. He struggled a little in NASCAR, a little bad luck actually, similar to what I had. But he gets the job done with Joseph Newgarden in the IndyCar at Texas. So he wins it at plus 650. Gets him in the positive. And we're going to talk to Sam in the third segment of the show. We're going to talk college basketball and MLB here in the first segment. Then we're going to talk some NHL, XFL, and golf in our middle segment, obviously focusing on the Masters, which we will put the picks up. This show will be out on Friday, so I will put the picks up this evening or early tomorrow morning for who everybody likes. I have Coach's picks as well, as he gave us some yesterday. And then the final session, final segment, I guess I should say, going to get Sam's thoughts on the NBA. He's an NBA guy. And NASCAR at Bristol. We'll also talk a little bit about the Formula One and Indy cars from last week. They are both off this week, so we won't have any open wheel racing for a couple more weeks. Actually, at least probably 2 more weeks. But anyway, talk plenty of racing as the season goes on. We have plenty of other stuff to tide us over. Chris, we put a bow on the college basketball season. Yeah. Thank goodness. I'm actually I kind of got sick. Early on, I liked that tournament. I thought it was pretty good. And then as the time went on, I was kind of just getting annoyed with the officials in the way. And just all the reviews. And I don't know. The Final Four to me was pretty shitty for the men. And not just because Miami lost. They were just outclassed. But nobody was beating UConn. And I don't know. What were your thoughts?
Well, I enjoyed it, and I think a lot of it was due to the fact that a lot of the blue bloods were eliminated. We didn't have to see the Kansases and the Duke and the Carolinas, which I did like that, and I enjoyed seeing like the I guess you would want to call them mid-majors making runs at the title. But getting back to your point, what you mentioned about the officiating, and I'm not bashing, but I remember, and I think it was the game before, it was last week when Miami, who did they beat on that big comeback? That was Texas?
Texas.
Well, the game before that. Remember how long that last minute took?
It was Creighton and San Diego State.
It was awful. It was freaking unwatchable.
Yeah, it was.
But anyway, when I first turned the championship game on, it was already a 12-point game. Like you said, the ribbon is on the box, and you and I both won some money.
Yeah, not bad.
I got an envelope of money, and you got half
a random
of what
draw.
Yeah,
but, I mean, I did actually decent in betting, but I mean, I needed Miami or FAU to win, and of course, neither one of them could. FAU just a disgusting loss in the Final Four.
Yeah, that was. I
would have had a really good tournament, but kind of went south on me. That's no surprise.
UConn's they were just too deep, too big for that team. And I mean, in San Diego State, I mean, they went what
9 minutes.
14 straight.
Yeah, 14 straight, 9 minutes without a field goal.
You're not going to win.
No, that's the thing that sucks about it is that you get to that point, you get all these upsets and teams are winning, which is neat to see. And then when it comes down to it, though, you probably wish there was a little bit better offensive team playing against UConn. But anyway, I know one thing. I hope they don't ever expand that tournament because I'm happy it's over and it's fun for a little while, but it wears me out with the with the officiating. It makes me sick. And the women's game I thought was a terribly officiated final. They didn't belong on that game. Those women referees. I mean, again, it's not picking on women, but it's come on, put the best referees if there's even a such thing. But I don't know. Those are my thoughts on it. I'm just glad it's over with.
I think you and I are kind of liking that. We whatever the sport, maybe with the exception of hockey and like some auto racing and whatnot, we get to like a breaking point where like, enough's enough. Well, and it's worse. It's with the NFL,
with officials involved, that's the problem. And that's why there's other sports out there that I urge people to try to get to fall in love with, because it's a lot more rewarding, a lot more enjoyable to watch. Just so much better than American sports.
Oh, it really is. And how many as a group?
Yeah,
we sit around, whether if we're at somebody's house or you just watch it at your home or at a bar. The first thing we do, we see like a hard foul. We just all joke around. Oh, let's go to the monitor, and they do. I mean, it's a physical game, but it does take away from your viewing pleasure watching that. Yeah. It's just awful, and you see basically when basketball was allowed to be a little bit physical, and even if it's inadvertent, even if the referee probably sees it, I don't know if they're mandated that they have to go to the monitor. But it just bogs down the play.
They try to put it in there with player safety and concussions and all that stuff. Yeah. And honestly, unless somebody looks stunned and staggered, they're fine. All of us played basketball. All of us got elbowed in the mouth and the head, and all of us elbowed people in the mouth and the head. Mm-hmm. It's just part of the game, especially if you're down on the block. It's just the way it went. Yes. And no one ever thought twice about that. I mean, and they act like it's malicious wounding every play, and it's enough's enough.
It's embarrassing.
Just quit trying to pretend that you're trying to look out for people's health, because that's totally not what's going on.
Well, that's just like them when they still refer to these players, whatever sport, as student athletes, because they really care about their education.
They're millionaires, most of them. Right. Student athletes, and defenseless receivers. Two terms I'm tired of hearing.
And that's why I don't know the situation with Caitlin Clark, but I think she has 2 more years if she wants to come back.
Yeah,
she could probably make more money on an NIL deal.
So far, she has probably more than what she'd make in WNBA.
Yeah,
and probably play a more competitive and more entertaining game, to be honest with you. The WNBA gets forgotten about. It goes in the summertime a lot of time, up before football, like right in towards the end.
But they weren't paid by like the NBA guys. So
silly. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
All you got to do is look at the crowd and you'll realize why that can't happen.
Yes.
But again, though, that means you're sexist, unfortunately, even though that's completely ridiculous. If the women can go out there and play against Joel Embiid, go ahead. Yeah. Try it. Mm-hmm. See how it fares for you. Anyway, enough about that stuff. Basketball in the books. Just happy it's over, as I said.
For sure.
We'll be on to next year, and we'll have we got to deal with free agency first, because that's the portal is now free agency. So I'll have to learn an entire new Miami team, like usually. Maybe a couple of guys will stick around, but sign of the times. It's not good. It's not good for anybody, and all these kids are getting rich off of it. So I guess that's good for them, but for us, terrible product, just deteriorating more. All right, let's switch gears to baseball. As you mentioned, it's April. We got baseball, third series of the year for these teams. It's hot outside at a lot of these places, although the Reds and Cubs got rained out today. So that's interesting. A first rain.
Has there been any? Besides, has there been any games with snow and very cold weather? I haven't seen anything.
A couple of those games at first, but some wind, but no snow. No snow. Mets and Brewers are watching now 6-6 in the top of the ninth. Devin Williams in, and the Orioles and Rangers 5-2. Rangers in the bottom of the 8th. Anyway, what were your thoughts, Chris, on opening weekend? Anything from the rules standpoint stand out to you?
No, I saw there were a couple incidents with the I won't say the shot clock, but the pitch clock. I saw your boy Manny Machado got it ejected.
Yeah, he's a dick.
Yeah, I don't know what that was all about, but he was in there fooling around with his bat.
Yeah, well, that's you know the rule, asshole. Quit breaking the law.
Well, it's like, and I think that happened real early in the game, didn't it? So the guy's getting paid $30-some million. Yeah. He wants to bitch and gets thrown out of the game.
Yeah, and they end up losing. So
and I don't know. Pirates and Indians off to pretty good starts.
Buck goes in the win column again. If they played every game in Boston, they'd probably win every game.
What was it? Terrible. They're 4-2. Yeah. They swept them, didn't they?
They swept the Red Sox. Are so bad. They're just terrible.
Boy,
they couldn't even hit the last two games.
Did you see any of their game today? Boy, they threw the ball around on defense.
They're
My God, that was bad.
They're a poorly built baseball team. Fenway Sports Group better. I don't know if they're trying to self-sabotage or what, but their soccer team stinks, their hockey team stinks, and now their baseball team
stinks. Who's their soccer?
Liverpool.
Oh, okay.
Which I'm happy about, but I hope they.
But but you'd think like a conglomerate like that would have some.
Well, I mean, I get they're patient with their people, so I'll give them that. And it's hard. Soccer fans are so bitter. Like Liverpool was just on top of the league and winning titles and winning Europe a couple of years ago. Like their manager's really good, and they still got a pretty good roster. But sometimes the message wears itself out, and it's enough that the guys don't hear it. The Penguins probably need to change coaches. Sadly, not that their roster's any good. Their GM stinks. We'll talk about hockey more in the next segment. But these teams out, and the Red Sox are going to be they're going to struggle. Maybe when it heats up, they'll hit a little bit. But their bullpen and pitching staff is really bad, and when they're getting out pitched by Mitch Keller, they got problems. So going to be a long year for the Red Sox.
And after last night's game, I think they were saying, because I think that the first game Monday night, I think Red Sox had 5 runs in the first.
Yeah,
and then like they didn't score many runs at all after that. And they had 9 runs in each of the first 3 games.
Put a ton of guys on base, can get a key hit. Last night's game should have went over. Today's game, there was I wonder how many. I didn't see how many stranded runners there were, but there was a lot for both teams. So
Buccos and that good pitching.
Yes, they have.
At least their bullpen.
A couple of things, observations from the first weekend. 40 pitch clock violations during the opening weekend out of the 49 games. Ooh. Yeah, batting averages were up about .15, so about 15 points. Stolen bases were up from 29 last year up to 70 in the opening weekend.
I freaking
Home runs were exactly the same, so they shouldn't need to change anything with that. ERAs and whips were both up. Strikeouts were also up. That's no surprise there with the strikeouts. ERAs and whips, these guys are putting bats on balls now. It's I don't know. So far, I think I'm going to lean a little bit towards especially for the guys that made their first starts, I'm leaning a little bit to the batter's advantage with the clocks so far. Mm-hmm. Just a little bit. But I think once these pitchers get used to it a little bit better, then they'll be good. Most of them, I mentioned on the radio, I heard some people saying about Chris Bassett for Toronto. Look out for him. They say he's a mess with his pitch clock, so he could be a total fade every game. A couple other observations: Orioles are hitting left-handed pitching really well. Problem is they had to face Jacob deGrom today, so he's not left-handed. But keep an eye on that. Orioles versus lefties. Take a look at that when you're betting. Look through the cards, see if they got a lefty starter who's not a top-end guy. And I would consider playing the Orioles and maybe the over. Red Sox game's over. That was a huge thing I was going to preach in here. And in the last 2 days, the Pirates shut them down. The worst pitching staff in the NL Central, and they shut them down. So, keep an eye on that. I still think Red Sox eventually in Fenway Park with that short left field, people are going to be banging them off the wall. It's going to be more the visitors doing the damage than the actual home team.
That left fielder's going to be have a sore neck looking around behind him. Balls bouncing off that green monster.
It's going to be tough. Yeah, they need a lot of help. Jim Rice, Collier, Stremski, somebody. They need to use. They could use a lift.
Well, I'm just glad. I mean, I know we're only 6 games in, but Mark has to feel a little bit better about the bet he made about the.
But again, you can't get too high. You play two teams who are picked to be about the bottom feeders in their division. But games are games. You got to beat the bad teams if you're going to get over your win total. So,
but they have had contributions from guys that they've signed or whatever. I mean, Kutch has been all right. Santana had 2 hits today, and stuff you never got from those clowns like Josh Van Meter. I mean, he couldn't hit me.
Yeah, they just give him a while before that pitching starts to get beat up. Who knows? I don't know. White Sox are next. And then the Astros and then the Cardinals. So they got a tough stretch coming up. We'll see how they do. But good start for coaching is 67.5, 68.5 for the Pirates over that everybody talked him into betting. So we'll keep an eye on it. Pirates, as Chris said, off to a good start. And the Rays is still the only undefeated team. They won again today against a guy that's probably going to be fade material constantly, and that's Patrick Corbin. He's absolutely horrible. Just fade him until to be announced. Play against him minus the 1.5. He gives up runs.
What happened
constantly.
to this guy?
I don't know. He got paid and he just sucks now. I don't know. I don't know, but it's easier being the number 4 starter than it is to be the number 1. And when you had Strasburg and Scherzer and guys like that on your staff, and then you go to being the number 1 in a really bad Nationals team. So lots to keep an eye on with that as baseball develops. There'll be a lot of things going on. The Rays, as I said, undefeated, but they've played garbage. They've played the Tigers and the Nationals. So and if everybody thinks the Rays are so good, hold your horses. I still think they're going to struggle too because their offense is not very good. But we'll keep an eye on it. Any other observations, Chris, from the opening part of baseball season?
No, actually,
anything you're keeping an eye on? The games have been better. They've been more enjoyable. There's a home run right there. Somebody for the Brewers just walked them off.
Walk-off home,
Walk
7-6.
off the Mets. Bernie Brewer. They swept the Mets. Garrett Mitchell solo homer.
Third one already.
Adam Ottavino. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, Matt, and
See, trumpet guy being hurt. There you go.
Yes. That's right. Poor guy. And I think for me, probably because of the Penguins' demise, like last night, they were on at the same time as the Pirates, and I hardly watched any of the Penguins at all.
Yeah, Penguins are not unwatchable right now.
They really are.
Especially against the Devils. It looks like the Penguin guys are skating in syrup or something.
Yeah, they look disinterested. But I don't know. I'm rejuvenated about baseball. I like the changes. I love the stat you presented about the stolen bases.
Yeah,
I always liked that. I thought that's an effective tool to use. It just kind of went by the wayside. I mean, when baseball started, just concentrating or focusing on nothing but home runs, and because that's the cool thing to do. That's the sexy thing. Yeah. But hitting and running, bunting, and stealing base.
You might get dirty too. Nobody wants to get dirty.
That's true as well. But no, I'm excited about baseball, and so I'm keep an eye out for the Pirates. Who they open up with the White Sox Friday, right?
Yeah, home opener Friday at PNC Park. Probably be a nice day. Yeah, so
I think it's supposed to be. Yeah,
you got the Orioles just lost 5-2, and it's a little too early to get panicked about any of these teams. So take your time. But the Mets are showing some issues already. Their pitching, the back end of their bullpen could be a problem, but they're not really hitting either. So too early to get panicked for anybody. Too early to get too excited about anybody.
And it looks like if he has another mediocre year, they're going to probably be saying that the Mets, that is, overpaid for Lindor.
Yeah, he's good enough defensively that maybe you can. But
still to justify that.
But the Mets really overpaying for anybody isn't even an issue because their owner doesn't care. Right. Like right now they're favored to get Ohtani at the trade deadline. So they're already working
at the trade deadline.
The phone. Oh yeah. So they're heavy in that debate. Back to the stolen bases that you mentioned. Great value on these stolen bases. Start looking through some of the guys in the leaders in stolen bases, even guys that are attempting them. Guys who are getting on base, guys who are having a chance to run, whether it's via walk or hit. But you can get great value on these guys. You can parlay them together. Guys stolen bases, you're getting $3-4 of good leadoff hitters with speed. So keep an eye out for that. There's some value to be found there if you can string together a couple of those, or you can just bet them straight if you choose to.
Now, do they have like an over under total on the league leader in stolen bases? Not the actual individual.
Yeah, but they did pre-season. I honestly had 69 or 70.
Really?
Yeah,
that's way up.
Well, they expected it to be way up because of the changes in the rules. I think last year's leader was 50s, maybe high 40s, possibly.
I mean, I remember Ricky Henderson stealing like 130.
Yeah, that's if we can only get that lucky.
Yes,
but maybe someday. You never know. All right, we're going to take a break here on Bettor's Last Stand. We're going to come back, jump into the NHL and XFL, and then what everybody's waiting for, the Masters. We'll be right back on Bettor's Last Stand.
Reminder, Bettor's Last Stand is for informational and entertainment purposes only. All wagering activity should only be conducted by those 21 years of age or older and within the confines of federal, state, and local law. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, contact 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-426-2537. You're watching Bettor's Last Stand.
All right, welcome back into Bettor's Last Stand. This is segment number 2. Matt and Chris here with you. Coach Jarrett Jubb Cooley, everybody else is busy. Soup, they're all working hard. We just got done working hard, and now we're trying to find you some winners here. We're going to talk about the NHL, just touching a little bit as we wrapped up, the first weekend of baseball, and we're into the second week of baseball, and we wrapped up college basketball finally. NHL playoffs about to start. We'll have comprehensive series breakdowns and so forth as we get the matchups, as we start to see who's going to play who. Chris, I guess we start with the Penguins right now. The Penguins minus 115 to make the playoffs, minus 115 to miss the playoffs. So basically a coin toss right now. Terrible performance last night against New Jersey. They're 0-4 against them on the year. It's no surprise. Jersey just too fast. Penguins just won't adjust. And I actually just hope they just don't make it. It's going to be easier that way. It's just not having to waste
they just don't have the talent.
Their back end bottom six sucks.
Well, right, and
sucks.
Just
goalie sucks.
A poorly constructed roster. Yeah. And it does kind of handcuff Mike Sullivan, but he's not done his best job this year. But I'd rather them not make the playoffs. It is because. If they get in there as the 8th seed, they're going to play Boston, and Boston will have zero trouble with them.
No, I don't be.
But I just don't understand. You mentioned off air about how just that was such a lackluster performance last night, and like I told you, I was watching the Pirates, but I turned on the Penguin game. They're already down 3-0. They just started a power play, the Penguins, and. They just pass around the perimeter, and they always want to make the cute little pass. And
they don't have good enough players to do that.
No,
I mean you can make those passes if you got elite talent, but those days of Phil Kessel, making great passes, the power play really hasn't been good since Mario played.
No,
actually Yager was good on the power play, but.
But so then I watched that one power play and then I turned it off. And then just reading the articles about almost like it was a game that didn't mean anything to them.
Yeah,
that's how they played, and it's like, well, you're trying to make the playoffs. I mean,
I don't know. Glenn Quagmire got pissed at the media after a little bit, a little testy.
Oh yeah, because
Crosby, aka Glenn Quagmire, because he had the mumps.
Right, you look that up. You can find that on Google that, and you'll see the similarities there.
But I bet he's frustrated too, so I don't blame him.
Well, they too, another thing, and if they don't make the playoffs, they're talking about, well, you'll have. Sid's going to have over 90 points. Malkin already has 80. Yeah. And to waste those years, and to waste 3 years like that, and I mean, they probably each have about what 2 years left of very productive hockey. I mean, they could, but no, they're kind of a dumpster fire right now, and their goaltending situation's bad. And again, like last night, did they not? Is the message lost from the coach?
I don't know. I don't even know if they know the message. I don't know. I can't even explain that team. It's just they're a team that just doesn't have it in any sense of the word. And
some of the lessons,
they're not going to change when the playoffs come. You can talk yourself into it, but it's not going to work. It's just it'll never work. Like Champ says, it won't work.
And how many games have you seen this year when a Penguin guy is been a recipient of a pretty questionable hit, and our guys don't do. I saw was it Dumoulin last night, or someone got smashed into the boards, and whoever did it, there was no repercussions. We just kind of skate away from it, and it's only if they do make the playoffs. We saw what happened last year during the Rangers series. They were just taking liberties. Nobody stood up to that Trouba guy.
No, and they won't be blowing a 3-1 series lead this year, I don't think.
No.
I mean, honestly, they play Carolina tough, but they can't beat them either, so who knows. It's not going to be pretty. Penguins right now 1 point behind Florida and New York for the final playoff spot in the Eastern Conference.
Well, they have 4 left.
Yeah, they play Minnesota at home Thursday, which is tomorrow. It'd be yesterday if you're listening to the show on Friday. Then at Detroit, home against the Blackhawks, and at CBJ. Honestly, a pretty favorable schedule, but I don't know if this team has enough toughness to get it done. And I guarantee you that the Panthers and the Islanders are going to give better efforts than the Penguins. So if the Penguins aren't done any favors by the teams they're playing, I think they're going to be up against it, because I don't think they'll beat Minnesota. Then they've shown that Detroit's going to be a team that's going to own them here in the near future. A young team that's getting better. Chicago, never know. And CBJ in a rivalry game. If the Jackets can keep the Penguins out of the playoffs, that'll make their season.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And then they're a team that's mailed it in weeks ago. They said when they were out in Vegas a few weeks ago, they got just absolutely slaughtered the night before their games, I guess. Word was out, I guess, and then they got hammered by the Jackets.
Just out there
they got nothing to play for. So anyway, enough about the Penguins. We'll see what happens there. Calgary in a huge game tonight. That's Wednesday night against Winnipeg, and basically if Calgary loses tonight, I think they're finished.
They're 2 points out,
right? They're 2 points behind the Jets, and they play each other tonight. So a huge game there. I'm going to look forward to watching that.
Yeah, that'll be good.
That's a 7:30 face-off. So get on your ESPN Plus and check that out. Should be a good game, although the game will all be over by the time you hear this. But anyway, hopefully it was a good game. The Flames trying to hang on, cling to life. They had a bad loss the other night.
Are they playing that game at home, Matt?
I think it's in Winnipeg.
Okay,
because I think it's a 7:30 face-off.
Yeah, you're right. If it's
would be more likely to be in Winnipeg than in Calgary. Where is it? At the Jets. Yeah, at the Jets. So big game there. Colorado right now 17-4. Yes, goal in the first 10 or last 21. So you got a few more days to take advantage of these. The Oilers 21-6, last 27, goal in the first 10, 12-3 to the over in the first period in the last 15. Even the Blues getting in on the action, 17-2 in the last 19. Yes, goal in the first 10. And I believe last night the goals in the first 10 were like 10-1 or something like that. So great thing to take advantage of if you want to study up and get the. There's a guy called Chris Otto on Twitter at PSU Auto, I think his handle is. He tracks all these stats on there. It's a really good reference if you're looking to bet period stuff. Second and third period as well, not just first 10 minutes. So check him out. He does a good job of that. Montreal Canadiens 15-2, first period overs in the last 17. So you got a lot of teams that you can take advantage of as you close out the season here. We got just over a week to go. Chris, if you're looking at teams in the Eastern Conference who are probably going to play each other, who do you think has an advantage should the standings hold to where the Rangers and the Devils are playing in the first round? What do you make of that series?
Yeah, I was just looking at the projected matchup because the only one in the East that has been confirmed, I think it's Tampa and Toronto are playing.
It's a guarantee, and most likely going to be Jersey Rangers because I think Carolina's almost ready to clinch that division. So
right. So I mean, right now, if the season ended, the Islanders are playing Boston. Yeah. But I do think that the Rangers, both of the 3-5 and the 4-6 match, I think would be great. Devils and Rangers, in the Leafs and the Lightning. And the Devils are young, energetic, hungry.
Yeah. Do they have enough experience to win? I think the Rangers have hurt themselves with the trades. I think they're worse. And if they don't get great goaltending, I think Jersey will be a problem for them. And the Rangers are going to have a lot of pressure on them. And in a rivalry series like that, I don't know. I don't love New Jersey from a standpoint of their experience, but they got Andre Palat and a couple other dudes. But if they can get goaltending, I like the Devils in that, and I'll be betting them at least plus a game probably when the series prices come out. There'll be a dog in that series most likely, and. I don't know though. Maybe they won't be because they're going to be the 2 seed versus the Rangers the 3. But I still think the Rangers will probably be favored because of their goaltending. But that's going to be a great first round series as you mentioned. Who would you go with?
I tell you what on the Devils series,
Devils and Rangers.
Well, I mean, my heart would definitely root for New Jersey. I could never root for the Rangers, and I think Jersey would be able to handle them. And another team in the East who's been playing very well are the Panthers.
Yeah, they're playing hard.
They won 4 in a row, and
if they match up with Carolina, that'll be a really good series.
I think they could make a little bit of noise.
I'm still not sure about their goaltending, but I'm not really sure about Carolina's either. And Carolina's had some injuries and haven't played as well down the stretch. I'm with you.
Well, I'd still would put my money on, and not to win it all, but I mean, out of the projected teams we're in right now, if the season ended, you'd probably still go with Tampa's goalie as a top guy, right?
Yeah, because Sorokin is a little inexperienced, not quite to the Vasilevsky level yet. So that's why I like the Lightning in that series. The goaltending breaks the tie there. The experience breaks the tie there. Toronto's just used to losing. So I'll be betting the Lightning if these matchups hold. I'd probably lean Panthers, Lightning, and Devils in those series. And then I'll tell you what, if I'm the Bruins, I don't want to play the Islanders. I don't want to play them because they have good enough goalie if he gets hot. And the Islanders are a team that can defend and make the game ugly. They have a great fourth line. That's the only team, and I don't think they'll beat the Bruins, but they can be a pain in their ass and maybe take a couple games off them and stretch them a little bit more. And then if you get a hot goalie, as you know, Chris, that can change everything.
Like, as opposed to the Bruins playing the Penguins, they're probably not. They probably won't push the Islanders around. Like they'll just treat.
No, you're not going to push around Matt Martin and Clutterbuck. Those guys will take out your best guy. They don't care.
And Brock Nelson. He's
those are tough players. Anders Lee. These guys
got grit. Yeah,
they do. Forget. They don't have enough goal scoring probably, but if their goalie, if Sorokin can play well. I think that's a better series than most of the 1-8 matchups. And the Bruins are honestly the best team, but that's one team I think that could maybe be a little bit of a pain in their ass. Because I guarantee you the Bruins would rather play the Penguins or the Panthers in the first round than the Islanders.
And, and for however you want to factor this in, it might not even, but, they could have that President's Cup curse.
Yeah.
Finishing number 1 overall in the regular season.
Yeah, they could, and their goalie is completely unproven in the playoffs.
Right.
He's not. This guy was a journeyman nobody, and then he's caught lightning literally in his hand, not even in a bottle. He's been amazing. He scored a goal this year. I mean, this guy's had everything go right for him. But we know the playoffs is a totally different brand of hockey. So we'll see what his mental makeup is like, and you've seen it happen. Colorado's done it. Tampa's done it. Tampa crashed out the giant season they had, and they lost to Columbus in the first round a few years ago. A terrible loss.
They got swept, didn't they?
They got swept 4-0. I mean, so there's a lot of bad losses. I don't think the Bruins. I think with their chemistry and their veteran leadership of their 18 skaters anyway, I think is good. But their goaltending is unproven, so we'll see.
And all it takes is one injury. And, these NHL guys, you go by and just pretend to accidentally, elbow a goalie in the head, or you can subtly, because some teams will resort to that. I'm not saying they will, but,
why not?
We've seen that over the years with the Penguins.
Yeah.
We know we're not better, but if we knock out one of their guys or a goalie, but I couldn't even tell you who Boston's backup is.
It's that Swayman guy. He was there. Oh, yeah, he was their number one prospect, right. And then he got passed up. He's got his record's incredible. He's got like 3 losses on the year. I mean, he's been great too. So,
but they're 31, and I think they're 31-4. Well, I guess 30.
They lost 12
at
times
home. At home,
yeah. But again, I don't think that they would want to have to play the Islanders if they had to choose their first round opponent. I'm not saying the Islanders will beat them, but I'm saying the Islanders will make it a little bit more difficult, and the Penguins will just lay there like a whore on her back. And just take it, because that's about all the Penguins are going to do in that series if they match up with them. All right, so let's jump into the West real quick before we go into XFL. These matchups right now in the West. You got Colorado playing the Kraken as of now. Now, there's a lot to still be determined here in that Pacific Division. So, you still got things up in the air, and you actually have not issues, but you have some things that aren't locked up in the Central either. You got the Wild.
These 3 teams with 98 points.
Yeah, so they're all in
the Avalanche, Stars, and Wild all have 98 points.
Yeah, so whoever gets the 1 seed there, it's hard to forecast, but right now. That's tough. That's really important because you don't have to play each other, because whoever finishes 2-3 right now, Dallas and Wild and Minnesota have to play each other. So Colorado's get the Kraken in the first round, which would still the Kraken are not to be messed with. They're good enough, but they'll probably eventually wear down and lose to Colorado. And then in the other division you have. The Golden Knights, who I believe put a stranglehold on the division last night, they're up, I think, 3 points.
They got 104, Oilers 101, and Kings 100.
Yeah, I had the Kings in a bet I gave out on the show a while ago. I don't think we're going to quite get there. But the Oilers and Kings in the first round, I absolutely love the Kings in that series. I think that'll be – I really think the Kings will beat them in 5 games.
We'll see.
You're going the other way.
I'm just pro Edmonton. That's all. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm rooting for Edmonton.
What makes you think Edmonton's transformed this year? I
don't know.
These Canadian teams, they just don't.
It's got to happen eventually. So they're going on 30 years now. 1993. Who was it? Montreal last Canadian team to
beat
win
the Kings.
Yes, in 1993 with Gretzky. I don't know. I just think McDavid's. I know it's a totally different style of hockey.
Yeah.
It's and of course the the refs tend to put away the whistles unless it's like a murder.
McDavid will get calls though. He will definitely get calls. There'll be a call about keeping the Oilers in the playoffs as long as possible, old David Stern style.
Yes,
but I think it'll be a really good series. I do think some of these first round series in hockey are really going to be good. Far better than anything we'll see in the NBA probably.
Well, this one, this is just tentative, but like the Wild playing the Stars. Now that's the only series like looking at these other possible matchups, because I think the West is obviously there's not a clear-cut favorite like there is in the East, but I mean you got probably at least 5 teams could walk out of there to win the West.
Yeah, I'd easily say I don't like Vegas very much. I
don't
think I was on Winnipeg earlier in the year, but they've not been very good. Their coach has been getting pissed at them, so they worry me a little bit. But if they get a decent seed and they have home ice, that's a great building to play in. Stars, good defensively. Wild, good defensively. Can they both get enough goal scoring to win? Colorado obviously has a very good team, not as good as they were last year. I'm a Kings guy. I think they upgraded their goaltending. I think their team's good. Kopitar still next to Crosby. He's the best two-way center in the NHL, in my opinion. Fuck Bergeron. He's always hurt. So
those guys, Kopitar and Crosby. I mean, they're about the same age. I mean, they both
have multiple cups. I mean, it's 2 great careers on 2 different sides of the globe.
Yes.
But anyway, we look forward to NHL. We'll have a little bit more of an idea next week when we sit down here with you. But now let's go over to the XFL, Chris. Let's talk a little bit of XFL football. Wasn't my best week in XFL. This was probably my worst week. I finally thought I figured it out, and didn't end up working out for me, as Seattle taking out Arlington and covering the spread. That game went over. So you had 2-2 overs and unders, and the favorites and dogs split 2-2. Both of the best teams in the league, the DC and Houston, both lost last week. Chris, what do you make of that?
I thought I had to go back and check my picks because I remember sending that to you, but I thought I had DC getting beat. Maybe not. I don't remember. But yeah, so they're not in the ranks of the undefeated anymore.
No, they are not. They were 9-point favorite.
I was wrong on
and
that.
Lost.
Vegas too. I had Vegas -3.
Yeah, and they did win. So they did win and cover. I think if you're looking at, I watched actually a decent amount of that Orlando and DC game. Really good game. Neither team could get a stop. In the second half, I had bet DC in play a couple of times when they were behind, and thought maybe they were going to get the job done, but neither team could stop each other. So really good. The offenses, I believe, now have caught up to the defenses, and you're starting to see more points. Obviously, these totals are going up, so be aware of that. You're getting totals in the mid-40s now.
I've noticed that now. This is what week 8 coming up.
Yes.
And yeah, because I remember seeing that earlier, like 30. Some of the totals were like 36, 37. Right. Now you have this one here for Sunday, 47.5 for DC and Seattle.
Yes. Yeah, you got every totals in the 40s this week. When we first started out here, these things were in the 32s, 33s, then they got up to 36s and 38s. Now they're into the 40s. And there's some games that I think you can't not bet over right now. This week, let's just go through the card. Vegas at St. Louis. That is a Saturday 1:00 kick on ESPN. St. Louis -7, total 46.5. This game I actually like under. What do you have any thoughts on this one, Chris?
I mean, Battlehawks, St. Louis 5-2 versus Vipers 2-5. I think I would go with the Battlehawks at home.
Yeah,
I remember just seeing that big home crowd.
They got a good crowd. Yep,
I agree. Against Vegas.
I won't want to lay the 7, but I'd be close if it came down a little bit. I'd be.
Well, that might be one of my picks.
Could be. All right, so be sure and check us out on our Twitter and our Instagram at the Pine Room Podcast. You can find our Bettor's Last Stand Twitter as well on there. You'll see it's merged with the Pine Room Podcast Twitter page as well. So all of our picks will be put up there. I'll put up all of our golf stuff today, and then the picks throughout the weekend. When we talk to Sam in the next hour, we'll get his racing picks finalized for the weekend. I'll put them out early, and then I'll put some adjustments in after he sees qualifying. We'll talk about that a little bit. All right, so Chris, considering St. Louis this week, and I am on the under in that game as of now, so keep we'll keep you posted on that. So follow us on social and get those picks. Again, we were up. What were we up? 10.3 units last week as a group. Me, Chris, Coach, and Sam. So try to keep it rolling. Try to keep it in the positive. All right, second game of the weekend in the XFL. 4:00 kick on ESPN. Orlando -1. Arlington. They host Arlington. The total 42.5. I like this game over. I like points in this game. What do you say, Chris?
I'm gonna go opposite, Matt. I just looking at the standings and let's see. Arlington in 7 games have scored 93 points, so they're not exactly lighting it up. Even though they're Arlington's 3-4, Orlando's 1-6. So I'm going to take that total, and I don't think there's going to be many points. So I'm going under 42.5.
All right. We're against each other. I thought Orlando's offense got clicking last week, so we'll see when they did it against a good team. But Arlington, as you said, not very good on offense. So we'll see there. All right. Sunday, Houston visiting San Antonio.
Battle of Texas.
Houston -4.5 on the road. San Antonio hosting Houston, as I said. Total 40.5. I think the Roughnecks get back on track here. I haven't been very impressed with San Antonio. I don't think they're very good. I'm leaning Houston in under in this game. What do you say?
I'm gonna take San Antonio. I'm gonna take getting the 4.5. I don't think to win, but I'm just gonna
take Brahma Bull.
Yeah, led by Hines Ward.
Yeah, what a coach.
He's the best.
Yeah, awesome. Hines Ward. Too bad he never got carted off on a stretcher when he played.
Well, you know what? He maybe get run over on the sidelines.
Joe Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, and the nightcap. The 7:00 kick, ESPN2 on Sunday. The DC Defenders look to bounce back as they head to Seattle. Seattle -1.5. Total 47.5. I think DC's back on track this week. I like DC and over in this game. How about you, Chris?
Well, Matt, looking at it, I'm going to go, and I concur with you on both of them.
Okay.
DC and over.
That's my thoughts right now, but as I said, we'll post the picks. Probably tomorrow and Friday, whenever they come in, I'll get them up there. So check us out on that. All right, that's puts a cap on the XFL for the week because we're already through we're into week 7 now. Or no, we're through week 7. We're in week 8.
How many weeks they play?
I think
they got to be getting like
12. Honestly, I should know that, but I don't.
Well, it doesn't matter.
First year, I do like it though.
Hey, real quick, what are you hearing on the reception? Or just how it's been received, this XFL.
Good.
I mean,
they got another year contract. So
okay, good. I like it, and we talked about this on other shows, I think, but I like the fact that it started right after the Super Bowl. For me, this is just me personally. What the hell do I know? But if so, the Super Bowl ends first week in February,
right?
And without the XFL, then you just kind of ease into baseball. And then once you get wrapped up in baseball, then I'm not going to say, okay, well, now when does USFL start?
That starts at the end of April. So
okay, so we'll just say 1st of May, whatever. So then you have at 2 or 3 months later after the Super Bowl. I just wouldn't pay attention to it compared to as if Again, I'm not sitting down and making the XFL must-watch TV, but if it's on and I'm not doing anything, I'll gladly turn it on.
It's not bad. I usually have it on one of my TVs, at least following one of the games. It's really not that bad. I got to give it credit. A lot of times,
and I love that kickoff rule.
Yeah, their rules are great. The rules are great. The coaching's good. The officials aren't getting in the way. The reviews are quick. I'm a fan. So, speaking of another sport I'm a fan of, we got golf this week, the Masters. Everybody loves the Masters. Not my favorite major, but I know I'm in the minority on that. Most people really, really love this. But playing the same course year after year gets boring to me when these guys hit the ball 400 yards now. So, anyway, I think there'll be pretty low scoring. I think the rains are going to be in the forecast. So
I heard there's going to be some
soft greens. Some of these players are going to be able to attack the pin. So, be sure when you're finding guys that you want to play, look for those guys who are great approach players. Strokes gained tee to green, those kinds of things. Par 5 scoring going to be gigantic here. If you don't birdie on these par 5s, you're just not going to win. So keep that in mind. And then, putting, obviously, it takes a lot to be able to handle the pressure in these situations, and not many guys can. But there's a lot of guys that I think are in the mix to win this. You got the live golfers coming in. You got the weather being an issue. You got lots of storylines. there's a couple guys that I really like, so I'll just go ahead and start us off. Actually, let me give you Coach's picks first. Coach gigantically high on Jordan Spieth. He's picking Spieth to win it. Spieth around 16 to 20 to 1 range. You can get Jordan Spieth. Great course history. Plays really well at the Masters. Always has. And he's really got his game back a little bit, and he's playing pretty well. It's all down to mental game with Jordan Spieth, though. Ever since he kind of got married and had a family and stuff, his mental games went downhill. So if he can focus in, he's a great putter. If he gets hot, he'll be in the mix. I don't see any reason why he couldn't be a top 10 guy. But if he has a little trouble early and gets pissed off and he starts talking to himself out there, which is so annoying to me, he will be going home shortly after his round on Friday. So,
it's interesting you brought that up about the mental part of that, and I think we talked about watching that documentary Full Swing on Netflix, and some of those golfers, and you kind of get an inside look of just how much of golf is a mental game, because a lot, obviously all those guys are talented.
Absolutely, you don't have a team. You have a caddy. That's it.
Yeah. But and we'll probably talk about him later. That Brooks Koepka, like for 2 or 3 years, whatever, he was like probably the number one golfer in the world. He was winning all kind of tournaments.
But he did get hurt. So but he's
but
he's
you
a
could
loose
just
cannon.
see, yeah, exactly.
But he just won last week, so we were going to talk about him in a couple of minutes, definitely. But you're right, mental in golf and tennis. I feel like mental game is more than pitching, maybe in baseball.
Well, yeah, because you
it's all it's you,
because you can't rely on anybody.
No,
you can
no
be
one else
on a basketball court. You go for 10. Well, your teammate
and you
pick
can
you up.
do other things. You can play defense. You can rebound.
Yep.
It doesn't always have to be you making shots, but yeah. So Coach is high on Jordan Spieth. Max Homa, his second choice, 25 to 1-ish. Keith Mitchell, a little under the radar, around 90 to 1. He likes Keith Mitchell. And then Sung J M, another guy that Coach is high on. I will see if he has any matchups or anything that he likes and post those on our social media. But again, Coach out today on business in Elkins. So those were his 4 guys that he mentioned on the radio. And again, don't forget, we're on the radio 3 days a week, 7 hours a week on WKKX, The Watchdog, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. So check us out on there, and you can hear some of us talk about these kinds of things and other fun stuff. So, all right. So, Chris, let's go to you now. Tell me any of these guys that you're interested in.
Well,
who are you using in Neil's pool? Have you figured that out yet?
I haven't figured that out yet, but just a couple guys that I was reading up on. And obviously you'll have the big names. I think, Scheffler and Spieth and John Rahm's, all those guys. But some other guys I think that could, be a factor or be playing, on day 4. Jason Day.
Yeah, I like Jason Day.
Statistically, he's been one of the best players in 2023 so far. And, in 11 career appearances at the Masters, he's had 7 top 25, so I wouldn't count him out.
Stroke average around 71.7, which is very good.
And I also, and you alluded to him earlier about Coach's guy's son, JM.
Yes.
He's been playing well. And I think he's finished. He's got 2 top 8 finishes in 3 appearances at the Masters.
Yes.
So,
and he has a really good stroke average as well, almost identical to Jason Day in 10 rounds at the Masters. So,
and one of my sleepers, well, actually two guys here that hopefully will do well is my boy Minwoo Lee.
You're always on Minwoo.
Well, I know, but he has a propensity he can get hot, but also he's the co-owner of the front 9 record.
Yeah,
he shot a 30 with shares that with KJ Choi and Greg Norman, and
this is only Minwoo's second time too. So.
Yes, and then the other guy, I know he had been hurt, but I think he's got a pretty good. He's ranked pretty high for this tournament as Louis
Oosthuizen?
Yes.
Louis Oosthuizen? Yeah.
Yes. I mean, he comes in from the
right, and he's
Live
made Golf Tour.
And he had made 8 consecutive cuts at the Masters, and only finished outside the top 30 just one time.
Yeah, Oosthuizen's been around a 72 average in 45 rounds at Augusta. He's very strong. Had a couple of chances to win it in past years. So I like those picks, Chris.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm really looking forward to it, and that, you know, you're right. Some people don't like it as much as others as far as down in Augusta. I love it just because it's the beauty of it.
I get it. Yeah.
And again, it doesn't, but it is obviously with the scores, it's not the hardest course to play. But I just, you know, with all those trees, and it's a beautiful, and it just, and again, most every year that our family, we get to spend Easter together.
Yeah, no, it's
and
nice.
We're watching that,
Easter,
and it's very nice. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, and I heard it on the radio, and you even just mentioned it about weather could be an issue.
Yes, I hope it is, because the guy that I'm picking to win, Colin Morikawa, is my top choices. Barely. He and Xander Schauffele were my two top guys. I don't bet these guys that are favored with 6-1 prices. Rory McIlroy, Scheffler, and Rahm. They're just too low. Not enough value on them at all. Too many good players to take a price like that. So I advise against that. I'll be going with Morikawa. He's great, probably the best iron player in the world. So hopefully with some soggy greens, he can stick them tight, and he can putt decently for him, because that's all he really needs to do, because he's not a very good putter. But when he gets it going, he's already won 2 majors, so I mean, he's pretty good.
And another guy that not to overlook would Tony Finau. I mean, he missed the cut his very first.
Very good.
In the first tournament of the season, but since then he's had 10 consecutive top 25s. He's never missed a cut at the Masters.
Yeah, he's super. He's through 20 rounds, 7th best scoring average amongst active players. So
he tied for 5th in 2019.
Yeah, Finau is a guy who I have on my second tier. He's definitely a guy I'm going to play. 20-1's a touch low. I was hoping I can get around 30. But Xander Schauffele, similar price to him. I love his game. He's played really well here in the past. 13th best scoring average through 18 rounds. So I'll be taking a shot with Xander, taking a shot with Morikawa. As Chris mentioned, Finau, he'll be in my mix. And the guy that I like is a little bit under the radar, but not as much as he was a few months ago, is Justin Rose. I talk about him on the show almost every week. His game's back. Been a fan of this guy for a while. His putting is just incredible. If he gets the putter going and he can hit greens, he is going to be in the mix for sure. He's had health problems. He's bounced back incredibly well. Him and Jason Day, who Chris is on, another guy, really glad to see that. Jason Day was the #1 player in the world a few years ago, had terrible health problems, vertigo. He had all kinds of issues, neck, back problems. Thought his career was probably over, but now he's built it back up, and the guy has a #1 type talent. So I like him and Justin Rose. Great to see both those guys.
Well, I just wanted to read this real quick on Justin Rose. He finished second in 2017, but it said
to Sergio.
Whoever wrote this said they're surprised he's not getting more love as a sleeper. He won earlier this year. Great at the Masters and make it 2 roses in 2 weeks at Augusta National. So, you know, and I'd like to see a guy like that too.
Good if you remember, he had that incredible duel in a back nine with Sergio Garcia back in 17, as you talked about. Played good enough to win. Sergio actually just made just a couple of better shots. And it was a 2-man race. I mean, they literally separated themselves from the field that day. So keep an eye on Rosie. He can get it going. He'll have a shot. And again, he's one of my top tier guys. So Morikawa, Rose, and Xander. And then my second tier guys, Day, Sungjae Im, and Finau. Those were my next. Yep. Now I'm going to talk about the live guys. I've heard a lot of mixed emotions on this through people that I've talked to at the sports book, people I've talked to just in my personal life, friends, family. Different people have different opinions on this. I expect the live golfers to play really well in this event. I think they're going to really come out with a chip on their shoulder and play well. Koepka trending in the right direction. He's the healthiest he's been in a couple of years. He won last week on the LIV Tour, second win on the LIV Tour. Cameron Smith, who once he left the PGA Tour, at the time he was right there with Scheffler as the best player in the world and Jon Rahm. Like, he was performing at an incredibly high rate. So when you're taking shots with these guys, Koepka, Cameron Smith, Dustin Johnson, a past Masters winner, I mean, you're getting really good prices on these guys. Brooks Koepka at 35-1 or 40-1 you can get him at was unthinkable a few years ago. I mean, this guy would have been about 9-1 probably in this tournament. DJ wouldn't have been any higher than 12-1. And then Cameron Smith, when he was having that run of success right before he went to the LIV Tour, he would have been probably 16-1 at the very tops. He could have been down in 14 range. But you're going to get incredible value on these LIV guys, and I suggest that maybe you take a look at some of them. If there's a LIV guy you like, and take a swing. You got Abraham Answer in there. You got Bubba Watson. You got Patrick Reed. You got Joaquin Neiman. I mean, these are really, really good players that people forget about now that are on the LIV Tour. And don't think their game. It's not like they've just went and stopped playing golf. Like they're playing good courses. Yeah. They're playing in tough events. So that's LIV. LIV makes its name on. They built it for being more challenging. So we'll see.
And all these guys have played this course. It's not like they just came from another country, never been here before, never played. So they're familiar with it, with the course and everything. So yeah, I'd say that they're definitely going to be factors.
Yeah, no, and it's great. It's good for golf. You're going to see some rivalries start to develop and emerge even more than they already are. Patrick Reed and Rory McIlroy and so forth. You got guys trying to play their way onto Ryder Cup teams. You got lots in the mix here. Couple of long shots that I want to give just before we take a break and get ready to talk racing and NBA with Sam. But Danny Willett, I've given him out a few times this year. His game is back. He won the Masters a few years ago. He's not as talented as these guys today, so by no means am I recommending him probably to win the tournament. But at 90, 100 to 1, it's not a bad price. And then if you're going to bet him, you get around plus 350, plus $4 range for a top 20. I think it's worth a shot. I mean, this guy's played well, and his game was gone, and he's brought it back to where he's on leaderboards now. He's a guy to keep an eye on. I'll be watching. And again, in-play betting in golf is really, really good opportunity. So be aware of that. Bubba Watson, always good at this course. If he stays interested, he's going to be dangerous. If he comes out and double bogeys 2 holes on the front 9 early on, he'll probably shut it down and just start jacking around. So keep an eye on him. I'd kind of just wait for him to get dialed in a little bit and then maybe make a play on him in play. Mackenzie Hughes always plays well here. Always a gigantic price. So just a guy that you're not really going to see getting picked to win this tournament. And I'm not saying he's going to, but at 300, 250 to 1, he threw $5 on him. What the hell? Francesco Molinari would have won the Masters if he didn't hit it in the fucking creek and let Tiger win a few years ago. Yeah. And again, Tiger factor. Just that Tiger in the air, the buzz around there that he was charging, and Molinari couldn't handle it, and he fell apart. And his game fell apart with him. He's changed clubs. He's changed his home base. He moved. I mean, he's moved continents. He's had a lot going on. He's starting to try to get his game rounded back into form. So Molinari, a guy, he could rediscover it. He's played well in this course in the past. Wouldn't discount him. Brian Harmon, good lefty. Doesn't hit it very long, but doesn't really matter. He can make shots, his second shots and approach shots. He can putt well. You're going to get him around 200, 150 to 1-ish. Something in the top 20, top 40, even top 10. Always Brian Harmon, always knocking on the door. Maybe even top left-handed player if you think he can outduel Phil Mickelson or Bubba Watson. I think that's the only 3 that are in there. And then Harris English, a guy, 200 to 1 on him is probably a little unfair. He should probably be a little lower than that. I don't love where his game is, but he's played decent enough here in the past that maybe he knocks on the door of a top 10, top 20. I probably wouldn't recommend him to win. I don't think he has the game to be able to outduel these super studs, but those are some of the guys that I look at from an under-the-radar standpoint. Jason Kokrak, another LIV guy's played really well here in the past as well, so keep an eye on him. You can get him in like 500 to 1, which is ridiculous. Should be more like 100 to 1. Chris, any long shots stand out to you? Any guys that you think could maybe rediscover their game?
I was looking, and this isn't a guy rediscovering his game, but Gordon Sargent. And I'm just reading on him, just what they were saying about him. That he hits the ball real hard, but he's only a sophomore at Vanderbilt.
Yeah, he's an amateur. For those of you not aware, these are amateur players. They invite some of the best AMs in the world.
Right, so that probably makes it probably makes him 19.
Yeah,
and said Data Golf has him ranked in its top 100 worldwide.
Yeah,
I mean, my God.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
He's got incredible talent. I've heard a lot about him. You may want to take a look. I've heard some people tipping him for top amateur, so you can bet that out there as well. I don't have a strong play on the amateurs.
No. I just
thought
that was very interesting.
Yeah, no question. All right, so a couple of guys about you maybe want to fade here. Billy Horsch was another guy too, dark horse. He has not played well here in the past though, so it worries me. But he has a capability of going low, so you never know. Harold Varner, he's always on the leaderboard early on. But guys that I'm fading, DeChambeau definitely. Normally I would be fading Tiger, but I think he plays his course so well. I think take a shot against take a shot with Tiger maybe to make the cut. I think that's not a terrible play by any means. Phil Mickelson, probably a fade. I'd love to see him contend just to stick it to the PGA guys, but I can't back him. His game's just not good enough right now. Matt Fitzpatrick's game's not been good enough for me. I'll be passing on him like him overall. Tommy Fleetwood's played good here in the past, but don't love where his game is. Hideki Matsuyama, didn't mention him yet. He's a very stable guy. Look for him on the weekend. He could shoot a very low score if he's out of contention, if he's in the 30s or 40s. Bet him to finish in the top 20 or top 10. This guy goes very low on the weekends, and he adjusts his game really well as the tournament goes on. So take a shot with him on there. Chris, anybody you'll be down on this week? Anybody?
Shane Lowry.
Fading? Okay, Shane Lowry. Yep.
Yeah, he's just been struggling. I
mean,
he hasn't played well at all here in 2023. He just has one top 10. That was at the Honda Classic. But
the Irish guys and the English guys, to me, none of them are playing super great right now. And I'll always fade Rory McIlroy. His price just isn't conducive to me betting him. Victor Hovland, I'm a little against him too. I don't think his game is sharp. Zalatoris still coming back from injury, won't be on him. But as I mentioned, the English guys, although the wind, if there's wind, which there's not really going to be a lot of wind, I think it's more going to be just rain. The wind could up those guys. Lowry, Hatton, Fleetwood, Fitzpatrick, all those guys play really well in the wind. Jason Day, outstanding in the wind. Adam Scott, guy gets forgotten about. You never know. He's very consistent. He's probably not going to win this because he doesn't putt well enough, but he could finish in the top 20 for sure. So you get a past champion who still has a really good tee to green game. So you could maybe capitalize on him. There's plenty of guys to hunt down and prices defined. You can find the old guys. Bernhard Langer still gets it done. He make the cut. Him and Freddie Couples. Chris, any matchups stand out to you? Did you have any?
I didn't really look at any yet, man.
I had three matchups that I liked. Scotty Scheffler. These are tournament long matchups. Scotty Scheffler over Rory McIlroy was one that I really liked. I like Brooks Koepka plus 165 over Victor Hovland, and I like Mackenzie Hughes minus 110 against Adam Svensson. Those are the three matchups that I'll be playing. I'll get what Coach likes as well tonight or tomorrow morning. Post those on social media. Chris, any final thoughts on the Masters before we get ready to talk racing and NBA?
Just excited for it, Matt. I think this is going to be a good tournament. Easter Sunday, we're going to have a celebration. Hopefully, the rain will not get in the way of stopping the tournament. And I'm going to put some picks out there for what it's worth. But I don't know. I never miss the Masters.
No, it's
that's the one that I'll watch from.
You just want to watch Jim Nance. So.
Yeah, is this going to be his last Masters?
No, he'll do this forever.
But at least you got rid of him in basketball, Matt.
Yeah, I know, that's very good. All right, a couple of things to wrap up here before we get Sam on. Bad beats last week. I'm gonna save one of these because we want to talk about it with Sam. It's a racing one, but in baseball, you're already up to it. Baseball up to its old tricks. The Nationals plus 165 or plus 1.5 on the run line. On Tuesday night, they lead 6-5 in the ninth inning against the Rays. Surrendered back-to-back home runs in a 5-run Rays ninth and lost 10-6. So you didn't cover the run line, you didn't cover the money line, and that was a game that actually the Rays, the Nationals were up, 5-2 at one point. So tough one there, but you can find baseball bad beats every single day.
Yeah.
You don't have to look very far. Just recapping the NCAA tournament, 32-32-1 ATS were the favorites. That's almost dead even. Couple of picks, couple of pushes. UConn 6-0 against the spread, covering by nearly 15 points. You can almost double what they were laying in those games, and they covered them all. So impressive job. We already talked about the baseball, the rule changes. NFL owners vote to keep the sports books open in their stadiums on game days. Really cool stuff. I think that's a great idea. Brings more attractive things to fans and drunk people. It's going to be a moneymaker for sure, and it's not going to be able to influence a game in any capacity. So people don't have to worry about that. Nevada sports books, $41.3 million in February, 33% increase from February 2022. As these offerings continue to grow, the pots continue to grow. And William Hill fined £19.2 million for failing to maintain social responsibility and anti-money laundering failures. That's a long story. I don't want to talk much about it, but if you want to read the article, go ahead and check it out. It's fascinating stuff. And then social media, always a problem.
That's terrible.
We talk about it all the time.
That's
Abuse
terrible.
of athletes in the NCAA tournament was an all-time high. Officials as well. Well, can't say I blame you. No, you should never do that. It's ridiculous.
But
get a life. Yeah. Anyway, all right, we're going to talk racing coming up. Wanted to mention real quick before we take our break here. AFL If you're not interested in it yet, if you're up in the morning or up late at night, give it a watch. See what you think. Contact at thepioneerpodcast.com. Let us know what you think. Geelong, the defending champs, 0-3. They were terrible last week. They are dead last in the ladder right now. Very, very last place out of the 18 teams. St. Kilda starting out 3-0 and first overall, and Geelong is now 9-1 to win the grand final. It's a great price because they were about plus $2 at the beginning of the year. So don't count them out yet. They got to get some things situated on defense. Their defense was terrible. And a couple of games I want to just run through really fast before we get Sam on here. Thursday night's game, Brisbane Lions. This will be already aired, the game will already be played by the time this airs. Brisbane, very good at home. I'll be back on them. They were terrible on the road last week. Collingwood is 3-0 in that game, but I think Brisbane gets it done. On Friday, the Carlton Blue Baggers, they will be taking on North Melbourne Kangaroos. I'll be going with Carlton here. They've beaten North Melbourne by 70 and 50 last year, laying 23.5 on the road. I like that and under. And I'll be putting these all up on social media, so if you don't want to write them down, don't worry about it. Adelaide and Fremantle also on Friday night, total 160.5. Like that game under. It's a rivalry game, close matches the last times those two teams play. They're both 1-2 on the season, so a pretty even battle there. Saturday, I like Western. I like the Doggies, plus the 13.5 against the Spiders. Actually, not the Spiders. That's a typo on there. My girl who made this sheet. Not Richmond Spiders. Richmond Tigers. The Richmond Spiders are a college team. 1-1-1 for the Richmond Tigers. They had a draw in week 1, but they host the Dogs, the Bulldogs, plus 13.5 on the road. I'll be leaning their way. Gold Coast Suns finally won last week. They're on the road at St. Kilda this week. St. Kilda top of the ladder, catching 15.5. I'll be going with the Suns. That was a team that I backed to get into the finals in the top 8. So they did lose one of their better players, though, to a knee injury last week, which is a problem. But I think they got enough young depth they could probably still play with St. Kilda. St. Kilda's got to run out of momentum at some point. Port Adelaide, horrible last week against Adelaide Crows. A terrible performance. I had them. Hopefully you didn't have them. They're at Sydney this week. Like this game under. Port Adelaide on the road struggles to score. And they won the last 6 against Sydney, so it's kind of tempting, but they are catching 19.5. Swans are the better team here, but I like the under 171.5. And then Sunday, Essendon host GWS. Essendon minus 11.5, total 172.5. I'll be going with the Bombers here. GWS, not very good. Essendon's won the last 4 in this rivalry, so we'll be backing the Bombers. And then Melbourne, the Demons in the West Coast. West Coast, a 43.5 point home dog. Demons defense is stifling. I won't lay the 43, but I like the game under. Melbourne defense has been very good the last 2 years, so I'll be backing the Demons as an underplay there. West Coast is a little bit better this year. They're decent at home, but I don't think they have anything for Melbourne. And then Geelong, if they don't win this week, then they may fire the coach because Hawthorn is absolutely horrible. Geelong at home laying 31.5. I think they'll take the Hawks out easily. But the way that the Geelong defense has been the last few weeks, you may want to look at the over in that game. So anyway, that's the rundown of the AFL. We're going to take a break here on Bettor's Last Stand. All these picks will be on social media at the Pine Room Podcast and at Bettor's Last Stand on Twitter. We're going to be back with Sam after the break. We're going to talk racing, NBA, and whatever the hell else he wants to talk about. Sammy P coming up after this on Bettor's Last Stand.
Reminder, Bettor's Last Stand is for informational and entertainment purposes only. All wagering activity should only be conducted by those 21 years of age or older and within the confines of federal, state, and local law. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, contact 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-426-2537. You're watching Bettor's Last Stand.
All right, welcome back in Bettor's Last Stand. This is segment 3, and Sam Pavlik joins us, Skyping in. We're a little off our audio sequence, so hopefully Jub could polish this up, but we can hear him, and he can hear us to some extent, and we're going to try to talk about racing and a little NBA. Sam, welcome to the program again. Thanks, and how's everything going up north?
Cool. It's a little toasty up here in Pennsylvania today, but it's good to join the fellas and ready to talk some sports.
Hello, Sam.
All right. Well, let's not waste any time then. So before we get into the racing and talk a little bit about last week, tell us your thoughts on NBA. Anything that sticks out to you as the season's in its last week? The Kings clinched the division last night at about 400-1. Which is
how
really
about that?
cool for them. And Joel Embiid now has a stranglehold on the MVP. What are your thoughts on the playoff race and how things are shaping up in the final week?
I don't know. I'm in so many places. It's like I loved the Kings, but it's like, is this a regular season thing? You know, I loved the Celtics early on. Like when I last saw you in person, I was all over the Celtics, and they're just, I don't know. I think they're going to let me down. There's just so much up for grabs in the NBA. I really am not sure if, like, something says the Memphis Grizzlies to me are going to be all right. I don't know what it is. I can't get the thought out of my head. I don't know where you guys are at in the NBA right now, but these other teams, I'm not too confident in.
Yeah, do you agree that Embiid's got the MVP locked up?
I think, man. I mean, Jokic is good. The Nuggets are good, but there's something about Embiid when he gets rolling, man. It's like, especially at a home game, if you watch the games, it's like the crowd gets rolling, and then they're on the refs, and then he gets this momentum. So he does more than like just score. Honestly, he just has that presence of like, oh shit, Embiid's rolling.
Yeah.
As soon as he gets rolling, dish it out. I think he should be the MVP. Yes.
Yeah. Well, after 50-point games a couple times in the last 2 weeks, I think he's got a pretty good stranglehold on it. So that probably is going to be his award. He's obviously lobbied for it for the last couple of years. So he'll be pretty
I'll
happy.
I'll say this. A 50-point Embiid game is a lot different than a 50-point Lillard game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Much
a lot
different. His field goal percentage was tremendous in that game, so hats off to him.
You
for
can't
that.
really go wrong with any of those guys,
No.
really. I mean, as MVP, they're all worthy candidates.
Yeah, it really is. Giannis and Joker and Embiid. Embiid's a little bit soft for me, which concerns me.
Yeah. I mean, all it takes is that injury, and it's done.
Yeah, so we shall see. We'll talk plenty more about the NBA playoffs coming up as the season ends on Easter Sunday. So it'll be by the time we talk next week, we'll know who's playing who, and probably can give some people some picks.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Hey, Sam, I'm going to get behind the Kings, too, in the Western Conference.
Chris, I know. I want to.
They're 25-14 on the road. That's the best road record in the West. So I mean,
by a lot too, isn't
yes,
it?
yeah. The other two best road records are 20-20. Clippers.
They play what? They played Dallas tonight, which I'd sit your starters there. Dallas stinks.
Does Dallas doesn't even want to win? I don't think they're better off being
Dallas,
in the lottery.
Yeah, they're in a little tough situation because they could be losing two superstars here real quick.
Yeah.
When what's kind of scary too is the Lakers could possibly get up to the fifth spot.
Oh yeah.
Chris, I had that thought last night, and I was just shaking my head.
They've won 4 in a row.
I know. LeBron planned that injury. I know that for a fact.
And he's rested. I mean,
he's got no excuse.
No.
Western Conference
excuse.
playoffs. Actually, all these playoffs in the NBA should be decent. Play-ins as well. So. We will talk plenty more about those next week when we know who's playing who, and that'll be exciting. Try to give you some winners in NBA and hockey as the playoffs are upon us. All right, let's shift gears. Sam, you got the job done last week in IndyCar with Joseph Newgarden coming through for you, salvaging the week. We both had some bad luck in the NASCAR circuit. Just guys with better cars than their results, showed at the end of the race. I had Martin Truex, and I had circled on a bad beat that I wanted to talk to you about. How about that late pit strategy by Martin Truex and his crew? They run out of tires. They put on scuffed tires. He doesn't even know it. They don't tell him, and he has a dominating car in the race, and then ends up finishing like 13th or something because he was so bad he just dropped out of nowhere. Very frustrating for him, I'm sure. What were your thoughts on that at Richmond last week?
Two cars, both in the same camp, the JGR cars. Hamlin had a bad stop that could have won on the race, and like you just said, Truex. There were both those cars. They were two of the strongest cars in the field all day, and it took a mistake by somebody that wasn't even driving the fucking car.
Yeah, and normally those are your two of your better pit crews. I mean, Denny Hamlin's crew for years, his and Kyle Busch were absolutely the best there is, and Yeah, that was rare to see Hamlin have a problem.
They just
like that.
put 4 bad tires on the car.
Well, they ran out of their good sets.
Okay,
but they put the set on, but they didn't tell Truex. So he's thinking he has stickers, and that's, if you remember, Sam, on the green flag at the last green flag start of the race. He dives into that corner like he has brand new fresh rubber, and after that he tore the bottoms off of those things, because his whole strategy, he would have then been just trying to hang on probably for a top 5. Had to totally change his driving style. He's thinking he's driving on fresh tires,
right?
And then he's not, and they didn't tell him. To me, that's the grounds for dismissal.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Oh, it's unfathomable. Unfathomable.
Yeah, in a giant outfit, like you said, that's JGR. That's not some like just rinky-dink startup team.
Like, when were they gonna tell him? Like, hey, we put, like, after you lost the race, after you won, like.
I mean, he was probably like, "What the hell is going on right now?"
How many laps were left when he got those tires?
I don't know, 16 maybe, something like that. Yeah, it wasn't that many, but he dropped so quick, and of course I had him. So that ruined my NASCAR afternoon. You got some guys, too, that were good picks by you that just didn't materialize. What were your thoughts on Richmond overall?
I liked it. I mean, I didn't think it was that bad. I mean, I just wish it was a better... Like, there was just not a lot of passing, to be honest. Like, I was thinking about that IndyCar race that happened this weekend. Like, that was an incredible...
Yeah, it was.
Last 20 laps. Like,
yeah,
that's the type of racing that I'm looking for. And the Richmond, it was just... Yeah. Well, it was a great race. I love racing, but,
It wasn't... it didn't live up to the IndyCar. You're right. The best race of the weekend was the IndyCar race, by far.
Yeah. Yeah. And the race this week, by the way, won't be any better.
Yes, we got no Indy this week. Long Beach next on the 16th. So shout out to Sam and his pick of Newgarden last week in the open wheel circuit. We were right about the Red Bull car winning. We didn't really nail the 2 on the podium though, as Checo didn't have his best race. But Max dominates again. Thoughts on the Grand Prix from Melbourne? Did you stay up and watch it? Did you DVR and watch the replay?
I did not stay up to watch it, Matt. But when I woke up, I didn't know what the fuck I was looking at. I just saw DNF. Like, half the field
Alex
didn't finish.
Albon. Yeah.
Gasly and Albon, they're a shit show already. It's just, as these races go on, it's just getting more boring, and I hate to say that.
I know. It is. The only bright spot out of there, Mercedes finally gets a second place as George had a rough day, but Lewis was good, and the Aston Martins continue to perform very well, finishing 3rd and 4th.
I actually have this is a drivers constructors double outright that I saw on FanDuel.
Okay.
So I was looking last night. There's the combination of Max and a Ferrari constructor is plus 3,200. There's a Max and a Mercedes that's plus 32, which I don't think is reasonable at all. But then there's also any other combo for plus 1,800.
Is Alonso worth a look?
That's the only other option,
right?
Is Alonso, because that's the only other way I can see anything money-wise being made with the driver and the constructors is having somebody else other than a Red Bull, step up and.
I like it because Fernando Alonso has been awesome this year. Right now, he's been the most valuable driver on the circuit, in my opinion. He's been absolutely awesome. And he'll continue to contend. I think he'll win one. I think it's bound to happen. Red Bull will have a time where they have a meltdown of some sort, which won't happen very often. And if he has a good car that day, I think he gets the job done. Who wins a race first between Mercedes or Aston Martin?
I think Aston Martin does. I really do.
That'll be cool.
Because Lance Stroll hasn't had those bad drives that he's had last year.
He's been steady. Yeah. When his car's been good. I think he had one failure that one time or whatever, but he's been very good this year, showing that he actually has some talent that he probably didn't even know he had a few years ago.
I know. How unbelievable is that?
Yeah,
unbelievable.
All right, so we are off again from F1, and we're in Azerbaijan at the end of the month. Australia to Azerbaijan. What a lot of miles they log. So we'll talk plenty more about that as we come up. All right, so let's get into the Bristol Dirt Race. We'll be watching this together at Aunt Kim's on Easter, so looking forward to that. Chris was talking earlier about getting to watch the Masters, getting to watch baseball, getting to watch Bristol Dirt Race. It's going to be a fun Sunday at Aunt Kim's. All the family in town celebrating, having some drinks, and hopefully enjoying a better Bristol Dirt Race than last year. What are your observations so far, and what do you expect here?
This is what I can tell you about the race last year and what to look forward to this year. So last year's Bristol Dirt Race, 32% of that race was ran under caution. 32%. So if you're not, a fucking mathematician, that's over a quarter of the race. That's not good. So that makes, what I'm getting at is these predictions for this are almost impossible for this race in particular. But what I look at is Tyler Reddick last year, he led 99 laps, which was the most of the field. The second most was Daniel Suarez.
Yeah.
But Daniel Suarez finished out of the top 10. He finished 11th. So I give you those two names. And then Bell, Bush, Logano, and Blaney were all top 10 in both stages.
I like Blaney a lot.
Take that for what it is. When I see those names, I see consistency and being able to get your car to the end of the race, which is probably the biggest task of them all.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's hope it doesn't rain and turn it into mud like it did a little bit last year. So who are some of your top guys? I have Suarez circled as a underrated value at around 25-1. He led some laps at the first year too, if you remember that they did it on the dirt. So he's I think his car will be good. Reddick always a contender. And you talked last week and kind of let our listeners know how good the Hendrick cars were going to be at Richmond, and they were, obviously, with Josh Berry, Larson winning, and Bowman and Byron. Byron had a really good car till he had trouble. So all those guys, Sharp, I think all those guys will be good here again. Kyle Busch is going to be good. Joey Logano's run well here. You can get Joey Logano at 10-1, which is almost unheard of. Chris Bell. Who stands out to you as a guy that maybe, and I love Ryan Blaney. He might be, him and Chase Briscoe are my picks to win it. Who are you keeping an eye on? If you have to roll the dice with somebody, who are you going to go with?
You mentioned the name. It's Logano. Something about Logano. He's having a great year, great car. Last year in the race, he finished third. Bell finished seventh. Bell's my other one because he's a great dirt racer. In a name, maybe. This is just, he finished in the top 10 last year. I don't know if it was just by coincidence or, happenstance, but Michael McDowell finished 9th last year.
I got him
maybe a
circled
name
too.
to take a look at before the race. I'm not gonna put my
I had McDowell circled as a possible top 10 at plus 290. I thought that was a decent look. I also had Chris Buescher at a T10 at plus 180. And ironically, Todd Gilliland, who ran well in the truck series, did okay. He was 17th last year in his first Cup start, plus 325 for a top 10. I thought, maybe he could sneak in there. And like you said, it could be chaotic. Could be a lot of guys getting spun out and wrecked. So anything could happen.
Yeah, it's going to be a disaster. I really think it will.
Chris, what are your thoughts? You got any questions for Sam going into this race? Anything that he can shed some light on?
I don't know.
Anybody you like?
No, I just, real quick, what's your opinion on, do you think this is like gimmicky having his dirt? I mean, I knew Bristol was this week, but I didn't know it was this dirt race till Matt gave me the handout. And I was like, damn it. Like you said, 32% on under caution last year. That's too much.
Yeah, that's way too much.
And it seems
I think it's just a gimmick.
Something that's not broke.
I just think it's a gimmick. It's just like trying to get viewers. I don't know if they think that people that don't like regular racing think that dirt racing is cooler. I have no idea.
Yeah,
I think it's dumb. There hasn't been one year where it's been like, this is a great finish, great race, this and that.
I think it's ran its course. I think it's
This is the second year for it or third?
Second. This will be the third. This is the third. They've done 2 races. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have 2 races in the books. Who won the first one? Logano won the first one, and then last year at least had some drama at the end.
Hey,
Kyle Busch spinning Reddick late.
Sam, what's your assessment of Bubba for this week? I see he's plus 6,000.
That's good value if he was driving well, but he's just doing that whiny, pissy shit again,
Victim. He's got great equipment. I mean...
Yeah, he's got top-end stuff. I mean, now his teammates are showing him up again. Winning races, and he can't.
I mean, you got Todd Gibbs finishing ninth last week.
Right.
Hey, man, you want to get replaced, they'll replace your ass.
Oh, yeah. Michael Jordan, did you see him on the pit box? He's not into losing. Like, he doesn't care. Yes, Denny. Yeah, yes. He was so mad.
Yeah,
he probably wanted to punch Steve Kerr again after that.
And Sam, when he made that comment a couple of weeks ago, it's almost like he, just the way he is, it's like he wants people to say, "Oh no, Bubba, you're doing okay. We don't want to replace you, but be careful what you wish for."
It'll come, man.
Yes.
Yeah, Jordan's not to be trifled with. That's why that guy's the all-time best.
Yes.
Hey. So, Sam, have you looked? Obviously, we'll put your picks once you finalize and see qualifying and put those up on social media at the Pioneer Podcast and on the Bettor's Last Day and Twitter. Thoughts on the truck race on Saturday? Have you looked at that at all? Anybody stand out, or is it too early to say?
I've looked. It's tough, but also Logano, Byron, and Briscoe are both in the truck race.
Yes.
So my gut and my brain goes immediately to the guys,
Correct.
that are those three immediately because they have the experience. They're just better drivers.
Right. And they're going to have top-notch equipment. Briscoe 8-1 right now. Logano 5-1. Byron 7-1. So you're right. It's hard to get past those two. Ben Rhodes, the guy who's on the regular circuit, 5-1. He's had two top three finishes in the. Actually, he won and then he was second, I think. So a good start to the dirt racing for him. And then two other guys I want to get your opinion on. Carson Hochevar and Grant Enfinger, actually three, and then Parker Kligerman were three guys that I thought maybe could have decent runs as well. What do you think of those guys?
Yeah, I think Hochevar can run well because he just had his first win.
Yes, he's pumped up. That was a good race.
Yeah, I mean, that's big. The other names, maybe, but one thing that sticks out with this race in particular, there's a driver named Jonathan Davenport.
Yes.
He is racing in the truck and the Cup Series race, and he's a 3-time Dirt Series champion outside of this. So I don't know if the familiarity and just being, comfortable on the dirt will help this guy at all because, these guys race with no respect.
What's his equipment looking like?
I think he's racing for Colleague.
I think he's Colleague too, yeah. And he's liable. They'll bring in a ringer, Colleague. They'll have good stuff ready for him.
Right. So I think he's got, maybe a chance to maybe finish the race. I know that sounds crazy, but
I don't see why not.
No.
So take a look at John Davenport, Chris.
Yeah.
We went to a bar called John Davenport Room.
New Haven,
Connecticut. Yeah. It's got to be an omen. Chris and Dog got really drunk there.
Oh, blast.
But I didn't.
Right.
Neither did Ace.
Right. Hey, Sam, he might fly under the radar, but do not discount Ty Majeski.
Oh, yeah. He's good. I don't know how good he is on dirt, but he is a good truck
You
racer.
wait. Look out for Ty.
Dave Majeski.
Hey, Matt, did you hear that all the owners boycotted that meeting today at NASCAR?
Yeah, why?
Because they don't think that NASCAR executives are doing business, fairly for them.
Really? I saw that pop up, but I didn't read the article yet.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to go well.
What started that? I mean, what?
The TV negotiations and the charters and just how the whole economic system works. Of they say right now a charter costs about $30 million to get one, which is they say it's an inflated number and not enough money from TV.
What does the charter do to get you a spot?
Yeah, you're guaranteed to start every Sunday, no matter what, if you have a charter.
30 mil.
And
wow.
Dale Jr.'s the one that probably needs to get one of those because he's got a good Xfinity team.
Yeah, you got to get that Earnhardt Ganassi team going.
Yeah, why not? You figure they'd be dying for an Earnhardt name to be in the Cup Series more.
Yeah. I mean, shit, look what happened when Ganassi just got rid of it. Look at Trackhouse.
Yeah. Yeah, Trackhouse on the up and up. Them and Aston Martin, they're the teams that are making the moves in those series. All right, so before we let you run, and we'll obviously get your race picks finalized and put them on social media, thoughts on opening weekend of baseball, the rule changes, your observations of the Pirates. I know you're pumped up with the Pirate hat on. You can join Chris, Jarrett, Soup, all of our guys here in the Pine Room as pretty excited Pirate fans.
Oh, Matt, I mean, I am like a fucking kid. I am. It's embarrassing. I feel like a crazy person saying that. But I'll read this text that I sent Jarrett today. That should summarize. I sent Jarrett about 65 brooms since we swept the Red Sox. And then Jarrett said, end quote, that this team is good. Maybe.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Great quote. That sounds like Winston Churchill or something.
That's what I thought. Very presidential. And I just said they are. Because I really think that they can maybe get 70 wins.
I do too. What I've seen, if their bullpen holds up like it has so far, I don't see why not.
I mean, shit. Keller went 7-7 today. I mean,
yeah. They're a little better than I expected, but they got to continue it though. You know how they hit those bad lulls where they lose like 6 of 8.
Sam, you're not going to opening day, are you?
That's a lot of time to fuck it up.
Sam, are you going to opening day?
I am very, very close.
You're off. You might as well.
The thing is I got to landscape in the morning, so I got to make sure that I do that in a good enough time to get down there.
What time's first pitch? 4 o'clock?
Yeah, 4:10, 4:12. Yeah.
All right.
I thought Jarrett might come up because we were going to try to get media passes.
Dude, I'll buy I'll buy 3 tickets right now if you two want to go.
Yeah, I probably won't be able to, but my brother was considering going too because him and his girlfriend were going to go to the Penguin game. They're going to the Penguin game tomorrow night, and then they were going to stick around and go to the Pirate game. So,
jeez, seeing all the sports.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the Penguins? I know you mentioned a little bit earlier, but no good for them, right? They have no chance of winning a series.
No, it's bad, and it's the funny thing is the same guy they got rid of, Marc-Andre Fleury, might be the guy that puts the knife in the heart.
I wonder if he'll start tomorrow because that Gustafsson guy's been playing well for Minnesota, and they've been rotating. But yeah, because Minnesota could use that win too.
Him.
Yeah, he's a Penguin. Yeah, he never played a game for the big club, but
no.
Yeah, amazing. 2 Penguin goalies would be their demise, and our goalies both suck.
Hey Sam.
Yeah. The Pens are bad, man, inside and out.
Yeah.
After they waived Kapanen, right, and then Blues got him picked up. He had 7 goals in his first 15 games with them.
Yeah, of course
he had 7 goals in like
2 years.
60 games with this year.
Yeah.
Is it him or is it the system? I
think it's us, man. I really think it's us.
It's getting stagnant, no doubt. All right, well, any closing thoughts? Anything you want to send the listeners off with on this Easter weekend?
Yeah, I would say if you're going to put a bet in for this dirt race, don't hold it to your heart because there's a serious chance that I mean, like I said, 32% of the last year's race under caution.
Yeah.
There's a 32% chance that your guy's getting taken.
So don't bet your paycheck.
Well, then Sam, then they need to bet responsibly.
Yes.
Yeah, bet responsibly.
Within your means.
Yes, within your means, whatever they may be.
That's right. And enjoy your Easter.
Yeah, we'll be enjoying it with you, buddy. Looking forward to Sunday. Thanks for dedicating your time to Bettor's Last Stand. As we do this every week, as a fun time of the year, we'll talk plenty of racing. We got NBA and NHL playoffs right around the corner, and MLB just getting cranked up. So, thanks again, Sam, for joining us.
Thank you, Sam.
We will see you on the show next week, but we will drink some Hennessy with you on Sunday at Kansas House.
Adios, fellas. I appreciate it.
Right. Happy Easter, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. All right. Thank you,
Bye,
Sammy.
Sam.
All right. That was Sam Pavlik checking in his weekly spot here on Bettor's Last Stand. Always great to be joined by him. Chris, your nephew does a good job analyzing
He's very,
all this
very
stuff.
good. He's very good. He takes his
he gets it from you, obviously.
Shit. No, he's good.
He doesn't get it from his dad. Did he? Well, I don't know. I'll tell you what. Your brother would be pretty pumped about the Pirates start right now. for sure.
Oh my God, yes, he definitely would be, and I think he'd like to just come on here too if he could.
I know.
Just to come on here and
say
dumb shit.
You know what? Maybe we can get one of those people that can do interdimensional travel, and we can make that happen. So,
that would just business would pick up.
Yes, it
listen
would.
Listen to him on here, but no, it's great to see Sam and hear him, and looking forward to. Sunday, and everybody, enjoy your Easter and be nice to people.
Yes.
It's not hard to do. Love one another, be kind, courteous, and smiling's free. And so,
yeah,
thanks for having
me, advice.
Matt.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining me.
Enjoy, and everybody have a great, happy Easter.
Yes, that'll do it for us here on BLS. We will be back next week, but you can also check us out on the radio all week next week. 7 hours of radio with myself, most of the time me, Job, Jarrett, and Coach. We got plenty of callers. Chris calls in. We got lots of interesting characters. Roy C. Mercer. We got Dan from Slobovia. We have a growing operation of callers, or a network of callers, so to speak. So anyway, that'll do it for us this week. Thanks for watching Bettor's Last Stand, or thanks for listening to it while you're working out. Shout out to B-Mac, Brian McLaughlin. He's probably getting pretty pumped up for NBA playoffs. I know he's a faithful listener.
Bulls are going to be playing in a playing
so maybe
game.
A little excitement there. Bulls probably outperformed what they were supposed to be this year, so hopefully good things to come there. And Brad's Mariners, we'll see what they have in store for him this year. It should be a good team. Anyway, that'll do it for us on Bettor's Last Stand. Happy Easter to everyone. Be safe. Drink a lot. Eat a lot. Like Chris said, love everybody. Well, at least most people.
Yeah.
Have fun. Watch the games. Enjoy the Masters. Enjoy the Bristol Dirt Race. And we will be back here, maybe with Coach, maybe with Chris, hopefully with me. Hopefully we're all living after the weekend.
Yes.
That's number one. So thanks again for listening, and we will see you next week on Bettor's Last Stand.